Last Friday evening, I decided to treat myself to a nice dinner at a restaurant. It had been a long week, and I wanted to relax and enjoy some good food. I chose a popular Italian restaurant in my neighborhood. When I arrived, the restaurant was busy, but the atmosphere was cozy and inviting. A friendly hostess greeted me at the door. "Good evening," she said. "Do you have a reservation?" I replied, "No, I don't, but is there a table available?" She smiled and said, "Let me check." After a moment, she said, "We have a table for one near the window. Would that be okay?" I nodded and said, "Yes, that's perfect. Thank you." She led me to the table, and I sat down. The view outside the window was lovely, with lights twinkling in the distance. A waiter approached me with a menu. "Good evening, my name is James, and I'll be your server tonight," he said. "Would you like to start with something to drink?" I thought for a moment and said, "Yes, I'll have a glass of sparkling water, please." He wrote it down and handed me the menu. "I'll be back in a moment," he said. I opened the menu and saw so many delicious options. There were appetizers like bruschetta and garlic bread, and main dishes like lasagna, spaghetti, and risotto. Everything looked amazing. When the waiter returned with my drink, he asked, "Are you ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes?" I replied, "I'm ready. I'll start with the garlic bread, and for the main course, I'll have the spaghetti carbonara." He smiled and said, "Great choice. Would you like anything else with your meal?" I said, "No, that will be all for now, thank you." As I waited for my food, I looked around the restaurant. People were chatting and laughing, and the smell of freshly baked pizza filled the air. It felt warm and lively. After about 10 minutes, the waiter brought the garlic bread to my table. "Here's your appetizer," he said. "Enjoy." I thanked him and took a bite. It was warm, crispy, and full of flavor. Not long after, he returned with my main course. "Here's your spaghetti carbonara," he said, placing the plate in front of me. It looked delicious, with creamy sauce and crispy bacon. I said, "Thank you. This looks amazing." He smiled and said, "If you need anything else, just let me know." I took a bite, and the food was absolutely delicious. The pasta was perfectly cooked, and the sauce was rich and flavorful. I enjoyed every bite. When I finished my meal, the waiter came back and asked, "Would you like to see the dessert menu?" I thought about it and said, "Yes, please." He handed me the dessert menu, and I saw options like tiramisu, panna cotta, and gelato. I decided to try the tiramisu because it's one of my favorites. A few minutes later, he brought the tiramisu to my table. "Here's your dessert," he said. It looked beautiful, with layers of cream and cocoa powder on top. I took a bite, and it was heavenly. The flavors of coffee and chocolate were perfectly balanced. I couldn't stop smiling as I ate it. When I finished, the waiter brought the bill to my table. "Here's your check," he said. I looked at the bill and handed him my credit card. He returned with the receipt and said, "Thank you for dining with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed your meal." I smiled and said, "Yes, everything was wonderful. Thank you." As I left the restaurant, I felt full and happy. It was a lovely evening, and I was glad I decided to treat myself.